really an honor and to be here for this day. It's an exciting day, at the same time very humbling to be part of this Ring of Honor, the inaugural inductees. So it is exciting. I just want to say that to begin with, that I am very thankful. Of course, a lot of years ago, my heart is still grateful that when there was a time in 1980 when a lot of clubs weren't going to take a chance and give me a chance to play in the NFL, that Paul Brown and the Brown family took a shot, even though I had a history of injuries. And so I'll always be thankful for that. And the fact that this day's taken place and I get a chance to enter the Ring of Honor with Paul Brown, it's amazing. So with that being said, I'll open it up to questions now.
Hi, Anthony. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You know, you're the only Bengals player in the Hall of Fame, and now you're part of the inaugural Ring of Honor class. How does, you know, all that make you feel as a former player?
Well, like I said, it's exciting. I'm very thankful. At the same time, I know with the Ring of Honor, I'm going to have, you know, probably former teammates with me the way it should be up in Canton. And, you know, I guess that would be the difference between this Ring of Honor and the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame, it's a lot more frustrating for me because I could give you a handful of guys that I believe, not just because I was their teammates, but because of their qualifications, should be in Canton with myself. But I think this is exciting, the Ring of Honor, because I think it's a time to celebrate as, you know, guys that played for this organization, even before I got here, while I was here, played with them, and even after. But I think it's a great celebration, not only for the guys, but for the organization and for the city.
Who initially told you that you were going to be part of the Ring of Honor, and how was that conversation like?
Well, it was quite a surprise, because I had talked to the organization. This is my 20th anniversary for my foundation, so I'm trying to get as many people engaged to really have a bigger impact on the community and the youth, as we've been doing for 20 years. And I'd contacted the Bengals, and then it went from a phone call to, hey, can you come in and we can chat about it a little more? So I came down here to Paul Brown Stadium expecting to talk more about our 20th anniversary of the foundation. All of a sudden I walk into the boardroom, the conference room, and there's Mike, and there's Katie and Troy and Elizabeth, and the whole family was there. I think PB was getting a little rehab, little physical therapy on his hip that he's kind of tweaked a little bit. And we sat down. I was expecting to talk foundation, but Mike started by sharing with me that this was going to take place, and that his father, Paul Brown, the great Paul Brown, and myself were going to be the first two, and which was pretty exciting, because it went from that to kind of going, oh my goodness, to sitting there for maybe a half an hour and just sharing stories. I shared some about Paul Brown. We talked about this person, and just I think that's what's going to be exciting about this whole thing, is not only having the names there at the stadium, but really, as Elizabeth shared, having the archives and the documentation of hopefully things that have happened for 50 plus years. So that's how it happened for me. I was here at the stadium and with almost the entire family.
Anthony, you look at this acknowledgement, and you think about all the things that have been awarded you because of the work you put in for the game. Where in your mind is this starting to rank in terms of all the achievements that you acquired over the course of your career? Well,
Box, I think for me, I share a little bit the fact that the Brown family, the Bengals organization, took a shot with me back in 1980. They drafted me. I played my entire career here, all 13 years. This is our 41st year that we've been living here in Cincinnati, so this is home. So it's extra special now that this is happening, the Ring of Honor, and that I'll be in the inaugural class. So it's right up there on the top, because it is my home. It's our home. It's the organization I played for my whole career, and so the Bengal stripes is that's it for me. So it's very, very special, right up there at the top.
Thank you.
Morning, Anthony. Anthony, do you think this could help your former teammates potentially in their Hall of Fame case?
I hope so. I really do. Now I'm dealing with a lot of the senior selectors and some of even the regular selectors. They might call me for opinion on other guys, and I just happen to take all the conversation with them, because I have one number 14 that should be in, and that's my focus right now. I am a diehard advocate of Kenny Anderson. He should be in. Hopefully this Ring of Honor that these selectors can see that this organization has had some great players. I mean, like I said, before me, I can name after name of guys that I played with that are deserving not only of the Hall of Fame, but this Ring of Honor. And of course, 14, 13, 14, Kenny Riley, Kenny Anderson, 85, Isaac Curtis. So hopefully this will help. Hopefully this will open the eyes of the selectors and say, man, this organization has had some great players over the years.
Anthony, how much more does that strengthen your case when you're talking to them? Then you can point to something tangible and physical that says, yeah, you have all the numbers that you've probably spouted off for years, but now that you could physically point to something and say, they're honored by the franchise as well. How much more does that strengthen your case, just aside from the numbers and anecdotes that you may have?
Well, hopefully it helps quite a bit. I don't know how much. I mean, this is a great honor, and like I said, I hope it does. But when you have, and I keep going back to Kenny Anderson, when you have his career stats, I've looked at least a half dozen quarterbacks in the Hall, and his stats are better, far better, a little better than a lot of those guys. You look at his stats, you look at the testimonials of guys that played for Bill Walsh out on the West Coast, and quarterback after quarterback after quarterback says, when I got into Bill Walsh's system, who did I watch on tape? Kenny Anderson, because he ran it the best, and that's where it all started. And you have guys, from the Steelers that played against him that have testimonials. So to answer your question, hopefully this does enhance my argument, and hopefully it does help. But this is an exciting day.
Hey, Anthony, Jeremy Rao, Fox 19. I wanted to ask you just about the direction of the franchise right now and just the engagement with the fans that you could see the Bengals are trying to do. Have you noticed that? And how much do you think that this organization needed to reinstill some of that excitement in the fan base again?
Well, Jeremy, I think it's been a very positive move by the Bengal organization. I think going back 2-3 years ago when, the 50th anniversary and, bringing the players in and engaging them, not only during games and not only just the guys that were the top 50, but it was, and I think this is going to be the same thing with the Ring of Honor, not only the guys that will be inducted to the Ring of Honor, but I think it's going to be a celebration for all the guys, for all our teammates to really, because if it wasn't, I'm sitting here, one of the first guys in, but I saw his face on the screen. If it wasn't for Dave Lapham, who I played my first 4 years next to, or, Max Montoya, or, the other lineman that I played next to, this wouldn't have happened. So the fact that they are engaging with the fans, it's been a handful of years that I've started to notice that with the different things. And like I said, not just bringing the guys to the game, but having dinners the night before, having us on the, out on the plaza level before games, interacting with the fans. So I think they continue to move in the right direction with the fan engagement and what they're doing.
Anthony, you're not just an inductee, you're a season ticket holder. You're a voter. Can you tell us who you're voting for in the inaugural class?
I'll let you know afterwards. I tell you what, that, it's like anything you vote for, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because, hopefully, I don't know how many votes I'll get, or if, I haven't even found that out. You're the first one that's mentioned that. But, there's a lot of guys before me that I played, and even after me, that are retired that are deserving. So I'm going to have to really process and look that one over closely.
Anthony, good morning. How you doing, my man?
Good. How you doing, Lap?
Good. You'd mentioned it earlier. The fact that you're already in the Hall of Fame in Canton, obviously that's the greatest honor that any football player can have. But to get in the Ring of Honor and have the 20th anniversary of your foundation the same year, it speaks to what you did on the field and what you've done off the football field. How significant is it to you that your foundation is in its 20th year and here comes the Ring of Honor?
You know what? It's you mentioned the foundation in 20 years. I can honestly tell you that I wake up in the morning, at night, I'm thinking about different ways to engage the community, to have impact on the kids that we're working with. If it's, our camps or our mentoring programs or leadership seminars or our scholarships, it's something that I'm very passionate about, Lap, and you know that because you've been a great supporter at our dinners, at our golf tournaments, and a lot of things we do. So the fact that we've been able to sustain that foundation for 20 years is our 20th, and quite frankly, the first 3 months of this year probably energized me more than the last 5 or 6 years because of the retention of corporate partners, the new corporate partners, the excitement of those in this community that see what we're doing and believe in what we're doing. I guess that's the big thing, is they believe and they can see the impact through what we're doing. And, one of the things that I tell people, I didn't start it till 8 years after I retired because I wanted to be totally engaged. If I put my name on it, I wanted to make sure that I knew what was going on. And I know what's going on. I can tell you that, we just had our last audit, and we're 91 cents per the dollar for the kids. And, it's one of those things that when we raise money, I want to make sure that the most money, per dollar, we want the most to go right to the kids. And, they call me the senior intern because I show up just about every day when I'm in town. I don't take a penny from the foundation. It's just a passion. So, Lap, you're right. The sustainability of what we're doing with the foundation, I'm thankful not only for our team there at the foundation, but I look at it in a bigger picture, the team here in Cincinnati. I keep telling people I played 13 years for, 50 plus guys as a team. Now I'm on a much bigger team here in this great community. And that's, getting people engaged corporately, privately, to believe in what we're doing, to be part of what we're doing with the impact. So I know we can't do it alone, and I'm thankful for this community. So it means quite a bit.
Anthony, congratulations. Elizabeth talked a lot about the waiting to do this the right way, the way they wanted to do it, to have multimedia and really telling the story of the inductees. How much have you been told about that, and what do you think the main theme of your story is going to be?
Well, I think first of all, I've been around Elizabeth twice, and I tell you what, you talk about sharp mind, energetic, enthusiastic, but really you can tell she's not just talking about being a fan, she is a fan. I guess the one thing she mentioned, and one of the times I was with her, she said, my grandfather went to Dartmouth. My mom went to Dartmouth. So I wanted to go to Dartmouth. I wanted to keep that legacy going. So I know when she talks about legacy and what's happened with this organization, I know it's real. It's exciting. I've already been in here, and I think I sat in this chair and they interviewed me for about an hour, just kind of my story, and, talked about from the first time that I met Forrest Gregg and he put me through a workout, to the first time I had lunch with Pete Brown and Jimmy McNally, who was my coach my entire time. And when they flew me here, and I going through the physicals and being the last guy out. So, what's going to be the theme of mine is just, I guess I would just use the word thankful. That would be the theme of, that describes, how I feel about this and what's happened in the past, is just, I'm grateful. And, but it's exciting. When they talk about document and having, archives about what's going on, I can see that happening. I think that's going to be great for fans, because I'm an old guy now. There's young people that don't remember seeing me play or Lap play, but if they can get a chance to see from that 81, season, that 82 Super Bowl, or even 88, because there's kids that, I go out and speak to kids and you talk about Super Bowls and they're like, wait, Bengals Super Bowl? I said, yeah, 2, and hopefully there'll be another one soon. So the fact that they're going to be documenting that and archiving that, I think it's exciting.
You're being inducted with Paul Brown. What do you hope people learn about him through this experience?
Oh my goodness. I tell you what, I've been, I'm one that talks about Paul Brown all the time, especially now that I spend a lot of time up in Canton. I've been to Paul Brown Stadium there at Massillon High School a number of times. I just drive up and I see his picture up there. I've been in the Paul Brown indoor facility. And, so it's, I hope young players, especially not only young players that play in this league, but young players that play for this organization, hopefully they learn and they see what Paul Brown did for the game, how, forward thinking, innovative he was, because the guy was just amazing. When you have a coach that grew up around him and is considered one of the best coaches now, and Bill Belichick, and he flat out said the best coach ever was Paul Brown. I mean, that's highly regarded by one of the best coaching now. And so I would hope that through this whole process that people look and can really learn more about Paul Brown, what he brought to the game, things that, people take for granted, playbooks and videotaping practices and face masks and things like that. And, that people learn what he did and how much he means to this game. So for me, to be, going in this first year of the Ring of Honor with Paul Brown, it's just, it's very humbling for a guy from Ontario, California, to be going in with the guy that has done so much for the NFL.
Anthony, you are obviously
talk a little bit about.
I'm sorry, Anthony, you're going to get, a say in who goes next in the Ring of Honor. You're going to get some significant votes. But if by chance you were given the power to make a top 5 pick for the Bengals, would you go with an offensive lineman from the Pac-12 or would you go with an offensive weapon? Just curious.
Well, let's say, first of all, I got unlimited of 7 guys that I could vote for this next year for the Ring of Honor. I think I'd go Lapham, Montoya, Reimers, Kozerski, Walter, Moonpie. No, okay, I can't go all linemen. But if they said, Anthony, we're going to allow you to make this first pick, the number 5 pick, I would be pretty excited. Even though he's a nemesis, he's been a nemesis to my Trojans, I would have to go with the guy up from Eugene, Oregon, with Panay. I've watched him several times. I think having signed Riley Reef, you got Jonah, you got Hopkins coming back, you got Sifu. And now you add Panay to the mix. I think if my name was Joe Burrow, I'd be pretty happy.
Anthony, when you talked to Mike and he shared the great news with you about the Ring of Honor, did he maybe inquire to you as to maybe something else that should be factored into, those getting selected for the Ring of Honor, or was it pretty much set and then it just moved on to making you that inaugural person?
Yeah, he just kind of told me what was going on. And then the fun thing for me was that led from, okay, he turned it over to Elizabeth and she kind of shared the details. But then we sat there for maybe a half an hour and just shared stories. I shared a story about his dad, and we shared stories about, Forrest Gregg and guys that we've been associated with. So really didn't think about criteria or process more than just, okay, here's what's happening. And then, happen what usually happens. I think back to when we celebrated the 50th and had those dinners on Saturday night, and, Lap was emceeing it and Horde, and, just getting a chance to hear stories. The first time I met Tommy Casanova was that year, and to hear about when they were playing. And, of course, I've known Trumpy forever, but I wasn't playing when he was playing, or Bob Johnson and, guys like that. So that's what it led to, Box, when that happened, was just, the storytelling and just starting to reminisce about the history of this great franchise.
2 more minutes.
Hey, Anthony,
Seg, I know you need to get it in. Go ahead.
Congratulations. You talked a little bit about Paul Brown's going in with you, but what about the other coaches, assistant coaches and head coaches? Who do you, you got a myriad of people there that could go into this Ring of Honor.
Seg, I tell you what, and when I talk about Bengal history, my Bengal history, Segman's got to be right there. Mini camp, Stouffer's hotel. I hear a knock on the door, and there's this guy that I look, and he says, "Anthony Muñoz, come with me." And I'm like, "Well, who are you?" Well, it was Segman taking me over to the radio station to do some radio, and so we've had a great relationship throughout the whole time. But I had to share your question again. When you started talking, I had to think about that time at the Stouffer's Hotel.
Just the fact is that other head coaches, past
yeah, okay,
coaches,
yeah, I got you.
Coaches could be part of this deal too.
One of the things that I've shared at the Hall of Fame, and in my humble opinion, there's head coaches that deserve to be in. I played for 2 great head coaches, totally different, Forrest Gregg and Sam Weiss. And hopefully that's part of the process, because both of those guys, Forrest came here when the franchise had just gone through 2, 4, and 12 years, takes us to the Super Bowl. Second year he's here. Sam Weiss gets here and we struggle, but then go to a Super Bowl. But my point I wanted to make is that I had a Hall of Fame tackle as my first head coach. For 4 years, he did not coach me once on the offensive line. So I've shared this with the Hall of Fame. When do assistant coaches start getting the recognition they deserve? My coach for all 13 years was Jim McNally. He developed, he coached us. Those are the guys that spend all the time with the guys developing those guys. You look at, any lineman, any D lineman, it's their position coaches that develop them. So hopefully as we move down the road, that will be something where assistant coaches get their due. And again, like I said, I've talked to the staff up at the Hall of Fame. I've talked to selectors about when is it when assistant coaches, will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame for their contribution, because I'm sure you talk to all the guys that are in the hall, and I'm sure they're going to talk about their position coach that made it possible for them to play at the highest level.
One last question.
Anthony, you played at Riverfront when y'all were at the peak of the franchise. Obviously, you've seen the franchise do very well in Paul Brown Stadium now. How much are you looking forward to seeing a stadium where the fan atmosphere is what it used to look like when this franchise was rolling? And do you feel like some of the things that are happening this year can kind of help maybe stoke a fan base that's been dormant for several years?
Well, and I'm going to speak for myself, but I know I can speak for a lot of the former players. We're some of the biggest fans of the team right now. We want them to win badly. We come to the games. I know I come to the games. And one of the things I continue to say is that we had a chance to play 2 AFC championship games at home in Riverfront, go to 2 Super Bowls, and to have a packed stadium of your home fans, to give them, the gift of playing every playoff game at home before you go to. That's what it's all about. And I know for myself personally, that's what I want to see for the city, for this organization, and for the guys that are dressing up and going out there on Sunday or Monday night or whatever day they're playing now during the week. I go out and speak to a lot of kids and I talk about the jungle. Or I should say, they ask me, don't you wish you played in the jungle? And I say, well, I got to give you a little history lesson here. The jungle started at Old Riverfront Stadium, but I'd love to see that reignite and become as crazy as it was in the Old Riverfront Stadium now here at Paul Brown Stadium, and to host not only, the playoff game, but an AFC championship game as the team goes off to the Super Bowl. So yeah, there's nothing more that I would love to see, because this is a great sports town. We stayed here. This is home. And I love for the teams to do well here, but especially Paul Brown Stadium, I'd love to be rocking on Sunday afternoon. I'd love for the tailgates to be rocking before the games again, where you can barely get around making your way into the stadium. But that is something that I'd love to see here. And hopefully with all the player engagement and what's going on here, that will spark the excitement and get people back in the stadium. And of course, we know you have to win games. So get a healthy Joe Burrow back there running the offense, get that defense going, and get Panay in the mix on that offense. No, I just had to throw that in.
All right, Anthony, we'll wrap it up with you. We appreciate your time. Of course, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate each and every one of you. You'll have a great day.